Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fire Emblem Three Houses. The series is brought to you by my good friend Card, and when somebody donates a game, I try to follow through with their advice, or with their request. Sorry, my brain is like not working today. But I try to follow through with their requests to the best of my abilities, which is why we have Mist along here with us.
Hi everyone! While we partake of war here in Fire Emblem Three Houses, I prep for a war in my gacha games.
Yeah.
I can finally kill her.
When the first lost belt is going to be dropping, in a couple hours, you tend to get anxious. It's like, what if I'm not ready? I know I'll probably be able to handle it because I've got a level 100 Heracles and a level 100 Raiko, both of them at Bond 10.
Right.
But there's that sinking drip because sometimes a Berserker isn't the answer. I mean, a Berserker is usually the answer, but not always.
Not always.
Like if you're dealing with a foreigner.
Yeah.
Like if you're dealing with a foreigner or a Berserker, it's the last thing you want to bring in.
Oh wow. Like everybody is in the Cardinals room today.
Yeah. So it seems.
Let's see. We have Sedith over here. If we find some clue.
Press forward. Our search for Rhea broadens to a wider area. I certainly hope we will.
If my foot could stop being itchy, that would be great.
I suspect I already know where she is. If I'm right, and she is in the Imperial capital, then we cannot save her until we topple the Empire. If I'm right.
Let's go ahead and push that authority up. Authority level 5. Neat. But yeah, like I said, it looks like just about everybody is. Well, they're not necessarily in the Cardinals room, but they are like over here in the library and in the Cardinals room. Like there's 3 people here.
Who are changing allegiance again and again. I do not have understanding for that. How can you trust if treason comes with ease? How can you be calling yourself a noble? I do not have understanding of the reasoning.
They're struggling for survival too, for personal
Survival
gain.
has more importance than that. Are they not knowing this?
Yeah, she doesn't have anything.
I hear the next battle could be a big one. Is that true? I miss the old days when if someone got hurt, we'd rush them to the infirmary and make them well. But on the battlefield, there's not enough time to help. People die. Professor, don't be one of those.
Don't worry, we're on casual mode. Nobody can die. Except for the other people.
Friends? It makes my heart heavy. If it was gonna come to this, maybe I should have avoided making friends with people from the Empire and the Alliance to begin with.
I don't think that's the right
Just don't know,
attitude.
Professor. I'm having a hard time with it. It did often seem strange to me at the Academy that we were studying with all these people from all over the world. But I feel like I finally started to understand the real reason behind it. The more you get to know people from other places, the harder you'll try to avoid fighting wars with them.
I mean, you're not wrong. It really is like all these people were coming together in a hope that would allow for more peace and things. Yeah, there's a lot of people here. Jeez. There's a lot of people here.
So, we're finally going to set foot in the Empire. I'm starting to get a little nervous. We already fought Ferdinand at the Great Bridge of London, but I guess there's a good chance we'll be fighting more old friends from here on out.
If we defeat the Imperial army at Gronder Field, What will our next objective be? I guess we won't have much choice but to try to take Fort Mercius, on the far side of Gronder Field. It's probably too soon for us to be thinking about that, isn't it? The battle just ahead of us is far from certain.
And you just axes and bows. Yeah, like everybody here is grouped around Gilbert there. Also that new lady as well. Who's maiden.
I'm glad you're the one giving orders on the battlefield, Professor. I don't think we should trust Dimitri with that task. Although it's thanks to his obsession that we're wasting no time, taking the shortest route to defeating the Empire. I just can't see a bright future for this army, fighting as we are under the banner of a prince possessed. Even if we do succeed in defeating the Empire, I wonder what will become of Fodlan. I apologize.
But you know what?
Whenever I'm with you,
Kudos to the developers,
I should.
because they had to come up for dialogue for every single character being on every route.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
except for the 3 house leaders, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, like, you know, I still haven't played any further in Crimson Flower, but I remember when we first got to the time skip and I was walking around, I was like, it's really interesting because I could see, you know, Mercy and Lysithea here, who I've recruited on Crimson Flowers. Their dialogue is 110% completely different between the two routes. I'm going, surely, you know, the people that have made the game, you know, they probably just made every character here that, you know, can go to the other sides and such. You know, surely there's just some kind of neutral dialogue or something that they have. But no, that's not the case at all. Like, Lysithea's dialogue here, I haven't seen on Crimson Flowers, but, like, I immediately noticed when I was talking to Petra, like, when you play on the Crimson Flowers, you know, Petra and Dorothea are both like, yeah, you know, who, you know, what was it they said? They're like, you know, who realized, you know, who knew that Rhea was this gigantic monster, and, you know, without the context of, you know, the chapter 12 ending, you know, where your armies are all fighting the Empire, and then Rhea turns into a dragon, like, in the Crimson Flower route at the end of chapter 11, Rhea, like, as soon as you declare, no, I'm, you know, gonna help Edelgard, Rhea just transforms into her dragon form in front of everybody, and you're just like, oh, crap, you know? And, like, Rhea has just this completely bitter, completely angry, like, and especially towards your character, like, as soon as you say, you know, that you're gonna go with Edelgard, Rhea's like, after all I've done for you, after everything that we've been through, you're just gonna turn away from me like this? And then she just transforms into the dragon and is like, well, I guess you're a failure and I'm gonna kill you. And it's just like, oh my god, you know?
but so that is understandable when you learn a little bit more about Rhea and exactly, and learn more about you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure more of that will come into play, and, you know, we haven't fully figured it out yet. We know something in the DLC said something about that my your mother's heart was taken and given to you because your heart, you know, wasn't beating, wasn't functioning. You were basically dead at birth, you know. And so it's like, it's really interesting. You know, there's clearly a huge connection there. And seeing the Crimson Flower route where she does say, like, I had hopes for you, you've dashed them all, I can't believe you would do this to me, you know, and then she's just like, I guess I'm just gonna kill you. And it's like, holy crap, you know? And, like, that's when everybody, you know, joins you and everything. And then you get, like, all your characters being like, oh my god, you know, who knew that was Rhea and that she really was, especially since with Crimson Flower, when Rhea transforms, Edelgard is like, and now we see her true form. She really is this monster, and she's been alive for 1,000 years and things like that. And you're just like, wow, like all the characters are just like, who knew that a freaking monster was the one leading the country for the last 1,000 years, basically. And it's like, oh my god, it's really interesting to see just how much the dialogue changes between just those two routes, and therefore how much I assume the dialogue is going to change further based off of the other two routes, because of all 4 routes in the game. And then just how much the dialogue has to change and manipulate because, I recruited Mercedes here on Crimson Flower, but maybe I don't recruit her on Golden Deer, and so therefore there's something vastly different there, and, it's... or even, I have her on Blue Flowers, or on Blue Lions, but I don't recruit her on Crimson Flowers, and then I fight her, and the way that whole battle and everything plays out and feels, it's like, it's all so dynamic, and considering that they had to not only make 4 completely separate routes in a single game, but like, Dimitri here, for example, can get relationship with Marianne, even though she's not in the house, and Sylvain can have Bernie and Dorothea, and it's like, there's so much unnecessary stuff that the developers put in here that it's just insane just how big this game actually is. You would not think it, You would think, oh, Dimitri, of course, he has supports with Blue Lions, but beyond that, you wouldn't expect it. But yet, here's Happy, here's Catherine, and Flame, and Marianne.
And something I have to immensely applaud Nintendo and just the Fire Emblem team on is that Three Houses is one game!
Yeah.
Finally be able to avenge my brother.
Rather than being 4 separate games like Fates.
Right. And that is, that's one reason why I said in one game, because, they did do that with Fates, but that was, you had, Conquest and Rebirth and whatever?
Conquest, Birthright, Revelations.
Conquest, Birthright, and Revelations, and that's...
To do Revelations, you had to have done both Birthright and Conquest.
Right. And those are entirely separate games, so you had to spend all that money on those separate games just to be able to see, the full story and things like that. But here
and the worst part is, the worst part, in my opinion, about the Fate series is that Gnar and just the Conquest side of things had so much more development and interest, and just it just felt more polished than Birthright did.
Right. And that,
I am firmly in the Norian camp simply because they had more character than the Hoshiden side.
Right.
I like our chances. What do you think?
As long as you're here, I'll be
How come
fine.
you only ever flatter me in times like these? What am I supposed to make of
So
that?
the fact that
Let's just keep putting
they've done this with Three Houses, where all of the houses have absolutely adorable and lovely characters,
Right.
and all of them are equally developed.
Oh, yeah. Chickpeas and wild game. Okay.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. No, I absolutely agree. It is... it really is amazing just how much work went into this game. And, So I know nothing, literally nothing about the Persona series. I only say what I'm gonna say because Nico has mentioned it. Persona, according to Nico, has a similar, relationship support type system, but it's all just the main character. But yet, again, you look at this and it's like, oh yeah, Serene here, Byleth, has support with all, like, every character except Anna, of course, because reasons, I guess. But then, like, not Dimitri. He doesn't just have Serene. He has Dedue, Felix, Ash, Sylvain. And then, and I know I said this before, but again, it comes down to, and then they didn't just do the Blue Lions. There's Bernie and Dorothea, Lysithea and Marianne and Leonie, all here, who are not of Sylvain's house in the slightest, and yet they thought, well, what if you're a Black Eagles? Who would you recruit into the Black Eagles, and who would they interact with?
It's like every student has some cross-house relations.
Right.
Just to make it more fun when you recruit them.
Right.
Of course, not everyone has sports with absolutely everyone, but
right.
It's like if you asked for way too much. That's a minimum of 2 to 3 support conversations, sometimes even 4, for every character.
Every character. Oh, yeah. And they all have to be dynamic enough, or at least most of them have to be quote-unquote dynamic enough that you can hit them later in the game. Some exceptions, obviously, with, Yuri, Balthus, Constance, Happy down here, and others like Rhea and stuff like that I won't get into that because I've already said that a million times. My feelings on that because of that. But it's like they have to be dynamic enough to be able to hit up later in the game and still give you that sense of like, oh yeah, this is just something that, is the two of their characters now. And then I've seen Nico's playthrough, and there were a couple of supports that we did after Geralt's death that Nico had done before Geralt's death. And the dialogue isn't completely different, but there's like 4 or 5 different lines that are like, oh hey, that's different, And so there's a dynamicness to that. It's like when somebody would refer to Geralt, if it's beforehand, they mention, this, I used to be Geralt's, apprentice, and Geralt is this great guy. But afterwards, it's like, I used to be Geralt's apprentice, and Geralt was a great guy, and it's unfortunate what happened, it's like, that is, as I said just before, a level of detail that you could consider unnecessary. When I said this is, these are unnecessary things, I meant like in the grand scheme of things, they're unnecessary. They're not something that you need to focus on. But that's the thing that's so great about Nintendo games is there's just the Nintendo polish, as people call it. There's this level of detail that all Nintendo games seem to have. That's just like, this is an unnecessary little detail, but it's there, Throwing in Majora's Mask in A Link Between Worlds is unnecessary. But they did it because it was a fun nod, And like... and that's only like the immediate example I can think of. But like, just look at like Breath of the Wild, for example. Like, just how many like references there are in Breath of the Wild to other things, just in general in Zelda, and the amount of detail. And there's a guardian that you can find in Zora's domain, a defeated guardian, that if you read one of the Zora tablets, it mentions that a guardian had attacked Zora's domain, and King Dorphan picked the guardian up and chucked it over a cliff and destroyed it. And if you look right down a cliff, there's a guardian that's dead and like lying on the ground down there, and it's like, that's an absolutely unnecessary detail. But yet, despite that, it's there, you know? And that's the kind of world building, you know, the kind, like, that's what I love in video games, is when there's that detail, that level of world building that it's completely unnecessary. You don't need to do that, and yet they do. Why? Because they can. Because it just, even though it's unnecessary, you add that little bit of extra world building, and suddenly it feels like it's a completely different game, completely different thing than what it had been literally moments before.
It goes from you're there filling in someone's shoes to you are this person either rediscovering yourself or making your legend.
Right.
I think it's wonderful to be able to...
Absolutely. It's so awesome, and it's so cool, just the amount of detail that these kinds of games do put into their characters and things, and it's just like it can't be overstated enough just how amazing it is to see the kind of details that Nintendo likes to put into their games.
I've eaten many meals in my
Yes, Fire Emblem is not technically a Nintendo game. It's Intelligent Systems, which is technically a third-party company. I don't think they're owned by Nintendo or anything like that. But they do still work with Nintendo. They publish on Nintendo platforms. And, it's like... They just didn't have to, and yet they did, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just so amazing to look at that kind of stuff.
My favorite meal.
Indeed. And it's like, again, as I'm stated, we know that it's not strictly a Nintendo property, but it's still one of those things where it's like you only see Fire Emblem games on Nintendo products.
Right.
So the term Nintendo polish can still apply, because without Nintendo, these games would not be out here as they are.
Right. I mean... And beyond that, it is also entirely possible that some of the detail that they put in is because they take their, in order to publish on a Nintendo console, you have to show them your progress. You have to, show the game to the people at Nintendo and show them what you're doing and how you're doing it. And it is entirely possible that they took their game to Nintendo and said, here, what do you think so far? And they went, that's nice. Could you add in something like this? And that is, that literally at that point is Nintendo polish. That's Nintendo coming in and saying, that's good, but can you make it better? And I know that sounds terrible to say, hey, that's good, but make it better. But like, it's so important that you do that, to be honest. It really is.
After all, a console is only as good as the games on the console.
Right.
The reason why the Switch has surpassed Wii U sales or Wii sales in Japan recently? Animal Crossing!
Yeah, absolutely. Animal Crossing came out, and it's not just a Japanese thing. Like, it's not just Japanese people that enjoy it, but Japanese people are the main ones that enjoy it, And
The
there's a
reason I
lot.
brought that up is literally recently the Switch has surpassed the Wii in sales.
Yeah.
I'd rather eat alone in my room, since that's apparently not allowed. Okay.
I love that. That was funny. That was funny dialogue. It's like you get the two loner characters. I'd really rather be alone. I'd really rather be alone. It's just like the two loner characters, and they're both just like, why do you do this to us? That was funny.
It's good for you. Socialize.
Yes, it's good for you. Get out, go do things.
Hello there.
Although, at the current moment, don't go out. Don't do things.
I mean, still get some exercise.
I think.
Yeah,
Like, go on walks around the block or something.
I think.
right. Just don't go out to like,
Return soon.
your national, your parks or things like that where there's going to be hundreds of people and things like that.
Well, I don't think there's gonna be hundreds of people.
Well, yeah, but you get one person thinking, oh, I'll just go out to the park and go for a walk. And one person thinks that, and there's going to be 100 people that have all thought that. Oh, there's not going to be, that many people at the park. I'm not going to get infected by the virus or anything. And it's
Most people are being smart, and if they're sick, they're staying home. So it's mostly people who are not sick who are out and about. So you're generally pretty okay. But
but at the same
still
time, it has,
exercise,
like,
good hygiene, like wash your
Yeah.
hands, use hand sanitizer, cough
Right.
into your elbow, all that stuff.
all that stuff, yeah. And the other thing is that
Like, a good rule of thumb is like stay 6 foot away from another person.
right. Oh
Of
yeah.
course, I can't exactly do that when I go out, because if I go out, I'm going out with my blind housemate, and he's blind.
He's blind. Yeah.
I'm kind of his seeing eye person.
Right.
I can't exactly be his seeing eyes if I'm 6 foot away from him.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, there are people out there that need that kind of thing, so they don't have the ability to, be far apart. But as you said, if you're practicing proper hygiene, if you're washing your hands, you're not touching your face, that kind of thing, the chances of you getting it are slim, and the chances of, if you have it and don't know it, because I think there's like a week-long incubation period before, that you are contaminatable. It's not the right word, but
Contagious.
yeah, contagious. You're contagious, but you don't even know you have it. So there is a period where you could have it but not know it, and so it really is important. Make sure you're washing your hands. Make sure alcohol-based soap, because the particular type of virus that COVID is, I saw somebody actually talking about it. He said it's something about the way that it's formed, the way that the virus cell structure is, that breaks apart as soon as it comes into contact with alcohol. So I mean, that's not an excuse to go out and get drunk, because
Please don't get drunk.
Being drunk isn't going to help you not catch it, because that's affecting parts of your body that the coronavirus is not going to get you at. But it's alcohol based soaps and hand sanitizers and such, the way that they can break up the cellular structure of the virus, effectively killing it in that regard. It's kind of like you're tearing it limb from limb, you know. And so it's so important to make sure you're. And I'll be honest, being disabled especially, it's really hard for me to practice proper hygiene. If you are like me and you are what's the word?
Immunosuppressed?
Immunosuppressed, I think, yeah. If you're immunosuppressed like I am, where your immunization system is shot because of your disabilities or things, I've basically been sick for the last 5 months straight. It's why a lot of my recent videos have had me hacking and nasally and stuff like that, because I'm not sick per se, but because I'm word is gone again.
Immunosuppressed.
Immunosuppressed. God, that is a long word. It's hard to remember. But because I'm immunosuppressed, pollen, cat dander, stuff like that gets me right away, Things that somebody might have minor issues with, to me, are severe issues. And so for someone like me to catch to catch the virus would be really, really bad, especially since not only am I immunosuppressed, I don't have any kind of medical insurance or anything, so I can't even go see a doctor to get tested if I have it. So it's very important that I don't catch it. And so it's if you're immunosuppressed like me, just do what you can to not go out, if you want to walk around you walk around, if you're able to get out and walk around, walk around your yard, walk up and down the streets or something, but please don't go to I don't even think bars.
Don't go to your LGS.
Yeah.
Although all LGSs are probably closed.
Yeah.
I know mine are.
Yeah. Don't go to bars. Don't go to gyms. Don't go to. I know that all those are probably closed around you. Captain Sparkles has been absolutely beside himself the last few videos because he's all the gyms are closed. And he's going, I don't have any way to work out. And I'm I for somebody who's a big health buff Jordan there, I can see that being an issue and all, but it's just basically take care of yourself. If you think you might be sick, don't go out, because you don't know that it might be a little flu bug, it might be just a common cold, but it could be something worse, and the last thing you want to do is infect other people, And, don't be afraid, but treat feeling sick as if, you might have something like that, especially if you work in, the food industry or something like that.
If you are an essential person, take especially good care of yourself,
yes.
Please. We need you guys.
Yes, definitely, because, if you're a food person, gloves do help to mitigate the transfer.
And make sure you take them off correctly without touching the outside of them.
Yes, but gloves do help. But the particular virus can get around any opening, and so you can have gloves on, but because they're not skin tight, secure, the virus can get around. And so yes, it's very important that we all. And I hate that my parents have been sitting here going, this is ridiculous, this is ridiculous. I'm sitting here going, no, this is necessary. This is a big deal. you know, and they're like, well, they didn't do this kind of thing when this such and such a virus came out and it hurt and killed a bunch of people. I'm like, they didn't. That's why it killed so many people. The reason that we're in this quarantine, in this state, is because of the fact that we have learned from our past. We understand that these things are and can be very, very bad and very, very deadly. You know, and even if you think, well, it's got a mortality rate of 1% of people, 1% of 1 billion is a freaking million, I think. Like, that is not good. Actually, it might even be 10 million. I'm not sure. I don't do math well. But I'm trying to think of the amount of zeros. You know, 1% of, 1 billion is like 10 million. And there are 7 billion people in the world. That's millions of people. You know? Don't think about it in percentages. Think of it in the numbers. And when you think millions of people can die, all of a sudden, you get a different perspective than if you say, well, only 1% of people that get it die. It's like, yeah, that's a lot of people. You know? There's millions of people. So that is like wartime devastation we're talking, you know? And if you're one of those people that should and does get upset over, 10, 20, 30,000 people dying, then, I mean, you should definitely be getting upset over, millions upon millions of people dying needlessly to something that could have been prevented. So, I've definitely gone on quite a bit of a rant there, though. But yeah, it's, again, take care of yourselves, be smart. I know there's a lot of dumb people out there, but there's a lot of unnecessary stress. So just think, how can I make somebody else's life better? And if you think that, you'll improve your own life. So.
Yep.
A lot of people don't think about that them improving another person's life can improve their own. So, I know there's been a lot of real talk between these last couple of episodes. It's also kind of funny because we've recorded these last 2 episodes at vastly different times, but, well, not vastly, but like 24 hours, like it's not, we didn't stop the last one and go into this one, So, it's at completely different times that we're, but we're still doing these real talk. And I know that, I know the last couple of episodes have been a lot of real talk, but I hope that somebody watches the video, notices somebody out there talking, talking the real talk, wanting to care, and just kind of takes a look at that and goes, hey, this is somebody that actually cares, wants to help, and feels better about their day, even if it's just because you watched a YouTube video. Hopefully that has brightened or helped in some way. Just because somebody out there isn't just like trying to pretend it doesn't exist or something like that, We know it exists. We 100% believe that it exists. We know that it's bad. We know that, we know all the struggles and trials and tribulations going on now at the time of recording, and we've got a buffer in videos. We don't know what it's like right now for you and what, because this is going to go up 2.5 weeks from when we're recording it. So we don't know what it's going to be like in 2 weeks.
We're just talking pretty much about what's on our minds right now as we're recording.
Yeah.
Because what else can we talk about?
What else
We
can
can't
we
talk
talk
about
about?
what's going on in the future.
Right. I mean, I guess I could sit here and spout a history lesson, but I don't think anyone wants to hear that.
And it's like, no matter what, real talks would become dated.
Yeah.
Because it's like, one day, and you can't say this will never happen, because I'm sure someday it will. One day, someone will stumble upon this channel 5 years in the future and watch these videos.
Yeah. They'll watch it and be like, what the heck was COVID-19? Well, why is it that every video I see that seems to come from this time era is all like very, very sensitive, very, very hush-hush about this whole thing. But this video is like going all out about it. Well, I'll be honest, part of that is that we're not monetized, so we don't have to worry about being demonetized by YouTube for talking about it. So we're willing to talk about it. So I'm sure that one day the YouTube channel will be monetized, and maybe when that happens, the YouTube processor, the YouTube thing that processes and checks for monetization or demonetization is going to go in and be like, oh, hey, you talked about coronavirus here and demonetize it. And it's just like, okay, but that's a video from like 5 years ago. I don't think the views on that matter much in me getting paid at this point, you know?
Yep.
But what still will matter is that even 5 years from now, we'll still care just as much about the people watching these videos as we did when we were recording them. If not, care about them more, because maybe we've, learned about some of the people that watch the video. We've talked to some of the people that have watched the video and things like that, So I know that's just been fishing with some real talk here, and I usually do the fishing off camera, but since we've been doing the real talk, I'm like, well, we've got something to talk about, so I might as well. Instead of literally, because I'm out of activity points, there's nothing else I could have done, What, I jump into a battle, I guess? I don't want to jump into a fight or something and just distract myself too much from, what we're saying here, so. But, yeah, hopefully things are working out for you in our current time of crisis. Hopefully, years from now, if, somebody finds this video, hopefully they're not in a time of crisis, Like, that's all I ever hope for in the world, is that there will be a day where we won't be in a severe, time of crisis, So, I know that someday we won't be in a severe time of crisis, but it's like, oh, hi, this is a Fudlandy. I might have to concentrate on this one, because it was actually really difficult. These purple ones are, like, very, very difficult, and I know I just did that really, really well, but that's probably the best I've ever done on one of those things. I usually end up losing almost half of my line or more on that. Also, I only ever seem to get, like, one of those Fudlandies. And the last 3 times I've gone fishing here, I've been using the big bait here. I've gotten one of those big Fudlandies, and the rest have all been small fish. Not even like gold or large fish, small fish. I'm actually doing pretty good today. Apparently the fishing minigame wants to perform for the video. Because like, oh here, let me just give you all like large, like giant and gold fish. So usually I get one Fudlandy, and then it's all the rest are literally small fish. Like that one. So that's a large one. And there's a small fish. Anyway, that's about it for what we have for this episode, honestly. I'm out of bait, so there's nothing else to do. So we might as well go ahead and finish off this episode. So we do hope you've enjoyed. If you have, I mean, again, feel free to, say something in the comments, Tell us how you feel right now. Tell us what you're going through. Pop into the Discord. Video description down below. There's a link to it. Come in, talk to us. You can talk to us about anything you want. Are you having a bad day? Let us know. Are you having a good day? Let us know. Are you having the worst day of your life? Let us know. Maybe we can help out. We want to. We want to be there for you. We can't be there for everybody, sure, but you come to the Discord channel and maybe somebody, there should be somebody there that can be there for somebody, It's a good place to get together, especially in these times when you can't go out. So, and trust me, I think we're all going a little stir crazy from being inside all day long. Anyway, there's also a link to the playlist down in the video description as well, so check that out if you missed any episodes. And with that, we will see you guys next time. And did Miss Mike cut out? I'm guessing so. Well, she would probably say, have a good day, everyone. So, see you later.